Hello and welcome to Mirror Realm. My name's Nick, known as Wyvern on the Discord servers. This is the 7th episode in our limited play series. If you're enjoying the series and want to stay up to date, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified when new episodes go live. That said, let's just get into it. In this episode, we'll be rating the exceptional Earth spells in the Arthurian Legend set. Right. Here they are. I immediately noticed that there are multicolored cards here. I feel like what we do is we skip them and then do all the multicolored ones together at the end.
Sure.
Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Because obviously then they're going to overlap in each one as we go through the colours.
Yep.
Right, so we've got... let's start with blue cap knockers. They're cost 3, 2 earth threshold, 3 power. Fairies with burrowing, and they can't be moved, destroyed, or... Sorry, their sight can't be moved, destroyed, or modified. That'd be pretty awesome if it was them.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Sight can't be moved. Okay, who knows? It's not. Let's not get into that. If it was them, what it would mean exactly, because it clearly isn't. They feel... They would be way more playable if they didn't have double earth thresholds. They're still obviously playable, but
Yeah, absolutely.
they don't feel great when you don't cast them on curve, which obviously the double earth threshold matters a lot. I have fallen into some weird mode for the last however many limited events we've done where
Mr. Four Colors over here.
I've been trying to do 4-color decks, 4-element decks as much as possible, and landing on 4 most weeks, or at least 3 every week. And obviously something like this is horrible in a 3 or 4-element deck.
And every time I see you play, your first 3 sides are always different thresholds. It's like, what is this?
Well, yeah.
It is
I think that could be, at least when we get later on in the deck construction, I have been... It's partially luck, but it's also a big part of it is not luck. It's to do with the exact composition of the... and the mulligans that you're choosing to do.
Yeah. Sure.
So, and obviously, you know, it's cards, there's still luck, but you can do quite a bit to help your luck as well. And then there's also just a big part of it with, there's a lot of nuance to the deck construction of playing a 4-element limited deck and being able to win with it a lot.
It's clearly much more reasonable to do in this game than it is in like Magic for say.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to think about
it's
this.
very doable and stuff. You open up doors like these knights, for example, become super playable in those type of decks, right? And
Yeah,
they're
for
actually really good, like in limited. These knights are so.
Yeah, they're incredible.
We'll get to them. So, but for now, for me, like in recent weeks, these knockers are like they're basically unplayable, but clearly they're playable. Clearly they're pretty decent.
I was trying to think about it. I don't think I've ever had these guys in any of my decks ever. And that's not to say they're bad. It's just maybe other people actually value them, whereas I don't. Like I basically put them at the same as the pigs of the sounder, right? Like, sure, the borrowing's nice, but the ability, like for the sight stuff, is pretty irrelevant in limited, especially when it's triple AL, right? Like it's very, I mean, pretty good against block, but you know that's not really a thing anymore. But yeah, just in general, like they're nothing special. They're absolutely solid. If you ever have them, and you're like an Earth deck, basically any deck you'd play Brown Bears in, you'd probably play these guys in, but you would, you don't value them highly. Because they're just like a generic dude that's hard to cast, almost always.
Yeah.
The borrowing,
and
maybe it comes up, but yeah.
And Brown Bears, again, going down my 4-element deck path. Brown Bears, you can, if you pick up enough ponds.
Yep. Yeah, these guys can't be
amazing,
ponded.
and you don't even need potentially any earth sites in your like.
Are they a fairy? I can't read
they're
any
a fairy,
of this.
sorry. Yeah, they're a fairy. So
when I zoom in a bit.
I know in the last event we did, I played 4-element deck, but I didn't have any earth sites. I was getting my earth thresholds entirely just from the ponds for the beasts. I had a wyvern and a bears, and through the what's the annual fair, right? So as a backup if I didn't get a pond, just for late game. So, and if you have enough ponds, that's fine, right? You just got to play a bit differently and hold a pond in. You got to hold a pond and draw other sites, right? To save the pond when you draw one of those later on. You got to play differently. I know derailing a little bit, and we'll get to all of this after, I guess, in the deck construction. But when we're talking about actually playing these decks, but they're fairies, and fairies are not beasts, and they don't work with ponds, basically. So,
and most of the theory synergy isn't really Earth-based either.
Yeah.
So, the fact that they're double Earth really works against them with the fairy synergy stuff. Because it's mostly water and air, from what I can remember.
I'm just going to add them to the sheet, starting to think about it a little bit, because obviously we've got to start rating stuff. They're exceptional. I'm going to have to add a column. Rarity ordinary. Whoops. Let's get that done. I mean, I'm hating on them a bit. Clearly, they're playable. It's just like
they're fun. I don't have any problem with playing things of the sound.
I'm trying to work out what I'll play them over. I mean, for sure, I'm going to play them over these. Generally, again, the threshold. It's going to be threshold specific, but I think broadly, they're better than the Banshee, right? Broadly.
For sure.
Yeah. They're better than...
well, I mean, the thing is, they're the right power and size for the spot on the code, right? They're 3 for 3. They're already, roughly what they should be.
They're better than these.
They have an ability in borrowing. And the modification thing, it could hurt you because maybe you want to do something, but more realistically, it's not going to come up in almost any game. Maybe occasionally
certainly not without beta.
Yeah, I think it's mostly bog from just thinking about it. But
does that even modify the site?
Hang on, does it? Because it makes everything on the site mobile. Does that count as modified?
Yeah, I don't know if that even modifies it. Yeah, interesting.
I don't know. Well, what does modified mean then?
Who knows? It's the one thing that doesn't have a link keyword.
Yeah, of course it doesn't.
So I'm not even sure. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I'm not going to go off checking the rules now, unless you feel like it's a worthwhile exercise for the rating system.
I mean, maybe it might be nice to know at some point, but it doesn't need to make the video an extra 10 minutes longer.
I'm trying to see. Okay, so I think they're better than those. I think they're in the conversation for sure. If I would play them, I feel like they're better than the Weightless Squire as well. Obviously, hard to compare with the elements and stuff, but assuming that I was playing Earth Air that was predominantly Earth, like I was going to go 7-5 on the sites or something with Earth Air, I would rather play the Knockers over the Squire, I think. So I feel like they've got to be at least around that type of rating, I think. Sort of this 4 to 5 range.
I think they're just 5s across the board, realistically.
Yeah.
Basically it doesn't really change anything. You're pretty happy to always have them in your deck if you can cast them. That's the only thing you can really say that's not good about them is just having double Earth threshold, so they can potentially be hard to cast. But overall, I don't think that I would maybe if they were single threshold, they'd be 666 or something. They're just basically a cave trolls that's hard to cast. And cave trolls are pretty solid. When you have it, you play it.
Yeah. But the thing is, I guess with cave trolls in particular, though, is that if you're playing them, there's a higher probability that you can cast them on curve.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're a worst cave troll.
It's possible.
Yep. Which is why they're not high, right? Which I think is why they're 5. So I think they're basically the same as Pigs of the Sounder. They have different upsides, but they're basically the same card.
All right, these Fomorians, 7 cost, 2 Earth threshold, 6 power, giants, and they're burrowing and submerge.
I don't even know what to say about these guys. Like, I think when I've had them, I've played them, but I don't think I've ever really
So people
had, like,
we rarely get to pick them because other people pick them, assumingly, is what's happening.
Yeah.
So other people in our, obviously you look at them, it's like, whoa, 6 power. They're big, they're good.
They're clearly a fatty.
And the thing is in Limited is that nearly all games, as in not literally all, but nearly all, like some massive percentage of games, you're going to go to 7 mana at some point. In Limited. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, they're certainly
over
playable.
3/4, right? A big percentage. They're naturally you don't have the sorcerers and stuff during you don't have these ultra high tempo stuff typically. If you build an ultra high tempo deck, it's very difficult to do in just a 3 in Legends, just because all the thresholds you can easily just, you know what I mean? Like, you can fall on your sword with your tempo and just die easily by missing drops and stuff. It's easier to build a high tempo deck if you've got the beta pack in there. So in Triple R3 in Legends, nearly all games you will get to cast them. Like, you will get to the 7 mana. That's important, right? Because if the games were typically ending before you could cast them, that'd be way worse.
Yep, sure.
So the fact that you could generally cast them, now they are big,
but they're not so big that they do anything.
I mean,
special.
as we're starting to play with beta, right? Immediately, I'm just like, like they are no highway clansmen, for example.
No, not at all.
They're not even close, right? And
but we're not rating it compared to those guys.
No, I'm just it's hard. It's hard. I'm trying to think of another minion that costs 7 that you can, that you would get often enough in draft to matter, and that was it. So, obviously, it's the case that the thresholds are unlikely to be an issue. Maybe for me with my 4 element decks, but under normal circumstances, if you're playing this, by the time you get to the 7 mana, the thresholds are incredibly unlikely to be an issue.
Yeah, for sure.
There isn't a lot of stuff in Triple R3 and Legends that burrows or submerges stuff, so these keywords are largely not that relevant. Unlike smaller stuff that has these abilities, sometimes you want to play it so it doesn't get killed. This one, obviously, you probably just want it on the surface somewhere, right? Typically,
majority
right?
of the time.
It's not like it's big enough that you want it to be causing problems, not to be cowering under the surface in case they kill it. So, obviously, there will be situations where these keywords do matter, but on the most part, they're not that impactful. So you really just basically, in a way, the Giants keyword can matter because there are, especially if you get one of the the fire unique ones that help other Giants.
Either of them.
That could up their stock quite a bit. Obviously, if you have Rebex or something in play, and then you play this for 7 mana afterwards, and it has charge, it's flipping amazing at that point, right? The same reason we're talking about the Highway Clansmen being amazing, but they're uniques. You're incredibly unlikely to ever draft these cards in the same deck. I never seen anyone do it. So, now, I think they're pretty solid, though. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, they sort of fall under that, like what we're talking about, the blue cap knockers, right? Like, if you have them, you're probably playing them. But they're not like some game-winning bomb. Like, Wyvern is just strictly better than these guys, right? Because Airborne is a pretty massive keyword in Limited, particularly. I mean, the game in general, but Limited even more so. So
100%. But I think broadly,
you're gonna play them.
I'm gonna probably pick a Fomorians over a blue cap knockers, I believe. If that's the choice.
I think it would definitely come down to the deck in general, but
I mean in the draft,
strictly on a power level, it probably are later. Yeah.
Like, I don't know in the final deck. I mean, the reality is, if you pick these guys and you're playing Earth, they're in your deck. And the only real exception to that is it's some weird situation. Like, you drafted 5 of them or something, right? And you probably don't want 5 of them.
Yeah. The other thing with these guys, because they're so expensive, and the 2 threshold becomes way less important because they're so expensive. So even if you do draft them pretty early, and you go like 3, potentially 4 colors, you can probably still fit them in your deck where you just wouldn't for the blue cap knockers.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm, it has to be pretty late in the draft, and I sort of have my deck being formulated for me to ever take the blue cap knockers over the Fomorians.
Sure. It's basically like you've got too much expensive stuff and you just need to get some stuff in down the bottom of your curve so you don't die, is where you would take it over those guys. But yeah, I think like they're basically fine. Like they're nothing special. They're just a good solid dude. They're probably not, winning you any more games than you would expect of like a regular exceptional. They're in that just solid dude category.
Yeah, I mean they're big though. This is the thing. Like they are really big for Arthurian Legends, right? Like we're talking brown bears are like really big, right? And these are they're big. They're really big. There's not a lot that directly competes with it, obviously, but between Lance tokens and just the Arthurian Legends having lots of playable minions generally, like
you're probably 2-1ing with this guy most of the time, which is solid.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's probably what happens. And there's a chance, obviously, a decent chance that you can play it out in such a way that they can't immediately kill it, and then it gets awkward for them because if they try to set up to block it to 2-1 it, then you can potentially just, get a lance to it yourself, or kill one of the block. Like you can potentially do a trick, right? So I feel like it's, I don't know. Like I feel like it's pretty, like it's good game is probably pretty good, right? Like in a good game, you can back it up with some tricks, and they can't deal with it. That's plausible. That's highly plausible. They just can't deal with it. If you're backing it up with tricks, they just can't. They don't have a card that kills it. There's not a lot of cards that kill it directly, right? Like if you're talking Magic and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, it doesn't have any evasion, right? So it's basically, it's most likely it's just gonna eat like a Magic Missiles or a Burning Hand or Fire Breathing or something like that, and then have a random minion thrown into it. It's generally how it's going to get killed on your opponent's turn. So, which is good. Like you're eating 2 cards. Like anytime you're 2-for-1ing with a card, you're reasonably happy. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it's like
I'm just saying in the good game, right? In the good game, they can't do that, and they just can't deal with it. And does that feels like?
But that's not happening 25% of the games, right? That's how we did the good games thing, wasn't it?
I'm just trying to work out. Yeah, I mean, maybe. The other thing as well is going to depend on the rest of your deck, because the more stuff that you put down in the turns preceding it, like, if you put a Wyvern down the turn before, for example, those cards that you just described, they'd probably just use them to kill the Wyvern, right? Or
yes and no, right? So you'd basically have to, but the thing with those is you'd have to opt into blocking with the Wyvern. So, like, potentially you couldn't even set up that turn.
Replace Wyvern with brown bears or whatever, right? Other fatties, right?
Yeah.
So the more big, difficult stuff to deal with that you play in the turns leading up to playing it, the less chance there is that they're going to end up with the answer.
Yeah, but that's just like 2-for-1ing your opponent more like constantly throughout the game. I mean, every card in your deck gets better at that point. Every time you have to 2-for-1 someone, it's like your other 2-for-1s are just constantly better.
Yeah, but I'm just saying at 6 power, that it's really difficult to deal with without the aforementioned trick that you mentioned, without one of those types of cards, right?
Yes.
Basically. So, and if you have a deck that's built in such a way that they're very unlikely to have such a trick left, because they've already would have had to have used it. Now, I don't know. Does that fall into the 25%? I'm not sure. But they feel very good to me. I mean, I'm trying to work out. I think they're definitely better than them. What are they called again? The Dirium. How do you spell it? Fomorian. I'm definitely spelled that wrong.
I can't read their names.
Fomorians. Okay, can't read. Is it like 6s?
Yeah, where the other guys are 5s, I think they're just 6s, right? They're just. I think you're always going to play them. I think you're always probably pretty happy to have them. but it's not like they're just going to win a game by themselves. So, whereas like an early brown bears potentially does do that.
Yeah. There's
Right?
no
They take over
early
a game.
version of them, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm alright with that. I do feel like, on the most part, they're very rarely not going to make your deck if you ended up with them. The real
I completely agree.
question becomes more just how highly you should be drafting them. And I don't know if I've ever drafted one in our drafts.
I've only ever had one in sealed.
Yeah, okay. I don't think I've ever drafted one, and obviously it wouldn't be because they don't exist. It's just, again, it's just going to be because other people are picking them before us, and I've definitely seen them and not picked them, right, in packs. It's just, you've just taken other stuff, but never actually ended up picking one, and yeah, right. Frisky Red Squirrel,
Garbage.
yeah, 1 mana, 1 threshold, 1 power, Genesis that can take a Lance token and hide it under the site. So you can't even...
Which this doesn't even have borrowing, so I can't even go get it.
Technically could take something more impactful, but yeah, it's going to be what... The Sword and Shield is probably the best you technically you can get a Ring of Morrigan or whatever, but the reality is that the only artifact that's actually that you would be really happy to snag with this that's exceptional or ordinary is the Sword and Shield, right? So, and the opportunity cost is just way too hot. Like, it's just nowhere near good enough, right? You're just going to want a different answer to deal with Sword and Shield than this, pretty much. Even if you knew that there was even if you saw 2 or 3 Sword of Shield, maybe if you saw 3 Sword of Shields in the draft or something weird like that you would. I still don't think you play it. Probably right.
Imagine seeing 3 Sword and Shields and not taking any of them.
Yeah, well, I can't imagine that.
It would happen, but it seems unlikely.
It'll basically involve you opening them in all 3 of your packs, right? And that just takes a bomb each time instead.
Yep.
And then knowing that, something like that. It'd be very weird.
And then because you did that, you'd be like, pass me that. I might take that Just a Rock 14th pick instead of leaving it for 15th. But yeah, it's trash. It's never going to end up. Like, it's not even one of those cards that's like, oh, maybe it's a 24th. It's just not ever coming into your deck. Your draft have to have gone real bad if you need to play this.
It's not as good as Green Sparrow.
It's not as good as any of the other one cost ones, right?
They all have airborne,
I don't think.
They? It's not as good as Green
except
Sparrow.
for the little piggy.
Yeah, Squeakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So maybe it's...
Squeaker's good game is way better than this guy's good game.
And Squeakers was 0-1-1 anyway.
Yeah.
Frisky Red Squirrel. Let's just move on in life. Is it just 0-0? Well, clearly its good game is going to be that it snags something that mattered.
I suppose. But
Its good game is that it snags a Lance token, basically.
Yeah.
Is that 1? Is that worth it? It's better than Just a Rock, right?
In
that example. Because at least you end up with 1 power minion after it. And what was Just a Rock? Was that 0-0-0?
I'm assuming...
Yeah, okay.
Surely.
It's better than Just a Rock.
But I mean, it's also... It's harder to get off than Just a Rock.
Yeah.
Because it's nearby. So
yeah, but also nearby where you summon it. So you could summon it on any of your sites. Yeah, it's...
Yeah, but it means you can't get it on a backline. It means you can't kill what's the haste horn thing?
I'm gonna insist that I would rather play a Frisky Red Squirrel before I play the Just a Rock.
Yeah, but we're talking. You're trying to put it at a 1 when you're saying in 25% of its best games it's a 1.
Yeah,
that's where I'm coming up against. You're not like okay. Killing like 25% of games. This is not taking an artifact.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay, maybe it's 0-0-0. Okay,
that's the only reason why I'm saying I would probably rather play this over Just a Rock as well. But we also said Just a Rock.
We said Squeakers was 0-1-1.
Yeah, that's because it can get pigs of the sounder. So you're not ever putting
in the
it
average
in the
game.
Without a pig.
Not in the average game, it can't, and it was 0-1-1. So
don't know. Maybe if we did it on the same day, it would be.
I think it may be 0-1-1. At the end of the day, it still does something. It gives you 1 power minion.
At the end of the day, I don't care.
Yeah. All right, let's just go 0-0-1.
Go with whatever you feel is right.
Well, I feel like its average game has got to be. All right, let's go 0-1-1. Either way, it's never been played, and I think it's. Yeah. All right. Hunting Party.
Pretty solid.
4 mana, 1 Earth Threshold. That's really important. That it's only singular. Yep. 3 powered, ranged, nearby enemies to lose stealth. It's all relevant. Basically, the ranged is really relevant. The losing stealth is really relevant in Arthurian Legends because there's just a lot more of it generally in games than in beta.
A lot of good air stuff with it. It helps deal with Sly Fox, which is like a very problematic card for limited.
Yeah, and you deal with it in a really good way. Like you just play that, it loses stealth. One of your other things attacks the fox and kills it immediately as well.
And ranged in general is pretty solid in limited. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that makes this card like very solid is the 1 threshold.
Yeah.
Because obviously 4 for 3 power is not like impressive. It's not great stats, but it's like the stats aren't so bad that it's trash. And ranged really makes up for power problems as well.
Yeah. I mean, generally, this will be in the deck. I would generally play it over the pigs and the blue cap. Generally, not always. Like
I'd play it over the giant guy. I can't read his name. I never read his name, so I actually don't even know what his name is.
Dirium Fomorians. I would play it over. It's pretty good. I mean, is it? I mean, it's a good game. I think that top 25%. These types of goodness where losing the stealth will matter, or the ranged will really matter, or both will really matter. It definitely falls into 25%.
Its best games are where it just completely runs the game, right? Because of the range, and they get snowballed on with various tricks and just like not being able to ever play something in a good blocking location. Is that 25% of games? Probably not, but maybe it is.
But I'm saying if you also add to that, just you play it and you kill their fox.
Probably is enough.
Whatever.
Or
whatever. Something with stealth.
Yeah. Or just like air in general has a lot of stealth, right? Because it's got the sight and the 3-drop.
But I think either the ranged being significantly impactful, or the stealth being significantly impactful, or both being significantly impactful, falls into 25%. I think to some degree, right? Now,
for
how
sure.
impactful exactly is a 25% mark? Don't think it. I think the upside for here has got to be. I mean,
it's got to be in the conversation of how do you compare this to a brown bears, basically. I think. Yeah,
and it's worse, obviously.
But the question is how much worse. I don't think it's by much.
Yeah, well, brown bears is 8-8-9. I think this is it like 7-7. 7-7.
Maybe it's 6-7-8 because its ordinary game is like its bad game is basically it's an overcosted 3-power unit, right?
Yeah, which where it gets bad is where you're on the draw and their 4-drop is a bears and then your next turn your 4-drop is this and then they have a turn to untap. Like you're in a bit of an awkward spot. Obviously, you have to play it on the back line with the bears attack, and it can do stuff still, but it's clearly better. Like a lot of stuff that's like this. The ranged is way more likely to be relevant when you're ahead on tempo, but it can still be relevant behind, right?
I think the thing with a lot of ranged units is it gets really good when you pair it with either like a warhorse or air warhorse in Flying Courier. Is that it?
Yeah, and this is small enough to be tossed
and like the steps and all those sort of things, right?
The siege giant.
What was that?
It's small enough to be thrown by the siege giant as well.
Yep. Yeah, so basically all the range stuff gets better as soon as you have any kind of mobility for either your stuff or their stuff. And Earth doesn't naturally have that, right? I don't think. But like as soon as you pair it up with another element, you start getting like a good chunk of that. And that's... So there's, it's obviously not as easy. It's not as consistent, but its good games are really good.
Yeah.
But its bad games are, just averagely bad. So I think no, I'm pretty happy with those numbers in general.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's basically making your deck all the time, and you're just not picking it over. Well, what's over 7? Let's see what you're not picking it over quickly.
I mean, I don't think you're ever upset to first pick this thing.
What's that one, sorry?
I don't think you're ever upset if you have to first pick it.
No, and if you look here, you're basically saying you take a brown bears over it, a leprechaun over it, a robin over it, a shellycoat over it, a fox over it, a lookout over it. That's it.
I don't know if I'd take leprechaun over it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mostly just because, like, when it runs a game, it can win a game by itself, whereas a leprechaun's probably not going to do that.
So, are we saying that it should be 6, 7, 9?
I don't know if that games where it wins is 25% of the best games, though, right? Like, it's probably not in that number, so it probably doesn't go up.
Yeah, so it falls under the caveat, which applies to other cards. There's just that
it's like synergy with the rest of your deck,
where it'll just win the game. And
yeah,
that means something, obviously, and that matters, obviously, but it's just outside the scope of this rating system. It's just
yeah.
So to be clear here,
yeah, I think most of the time I would take Hunting Party over a Leprechauns, but
so what? Yeah. Just to be clear,
Leprechauns is probably on average better.
Like, not sure what we're talking about. All we're saying is the good game rating here is that it's the top, like, around the top 25% of games, the 25th best out of 100 games. The bad game is the 25th worst out of 100, and the average is around the, in the middle somewhere. Whereas what we're saying is with a Hunting Party is there will be certain amount of games, let's say 5 and 100, for argument's sakes, where it just wins the game all by itself. It's like higher than a 10 out of 10, right? It just wins the game by itself, and that counts for something. The fact that a single card can just run the game and win it by itself, it matters a lot, but it falls outside the scope of this rating system, basically. Whereas the Leprechaun can never do that. It's always solid, it's always good, but it never just single-handedly wins the game all by itself. There'll also just be a percentage of times, like a brown... we're saying good game is 9 on that 25% mark for the brown bears, but there will just be games where it just runs the game and wins all by itself as well. It'll be above a 10 out of 10. And there are plenty of cards that, under their right circumstance, they will win the game all by themselves. It's just how many games out of 100 does that happen, is the question. And in the case of a Hunting Party, it's enough of a... It's a meaningful number. It's like 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever, right? It's some kind of number that isn't 1 in a million or 1 in 1,000, right? It's a meaningful amount of games where this will just run the game. So, yeah. Hopefully that makes it clear, even though it's rated lower than a Leprechaun, it's better than a Leprechaun, basically. It's just a limitation of the rating system in the end, basically. To avoid everything being way too complicated. So, Knighthood. I don't think
I've definitely played it. And it's been good, but it definitely requires a very specific deck.
So you
never want to take it early. But when it's good, but it's very inconsistent. And I suppose the consistency of it goes up depending on how your draft went. But at the time I played it, I think once or twice, and I definitely had over 5 things that could bring in. And I was a 4-element deck that had like a good chunk of mortals in general. So I was like, I can probably get away with this. But my deck was not consistent. So I was like, let's just go for maximum power and try and just high roll each game. But if you're going for a consistent deck, you probably don't want to play this unless your draft went a specific way.
Yeah, and it's really specific. Like, you need the ordinary mortals, which broadly is like ideally villages, which is...
Well, all the families are all ordinary mortals. Yep. So they're pretty easy to get, you just have to have them in play, and that's pretty easy to do, right?
Yep.
And, bringing in like a 4 elements, or even just a 3 elements that's like really hard to cast for 1 mana is pretty powerful.
Yep. Yeah, just ideal. Yeah. It's just not... You're 2 for 1 in yourself, obviously, but...
Yeah, right? But it's more like... If you think of it more of like...
Sorry, 3 for 1. 3 for 1 in yourself? Is that... How many for 1 are you, so?
No, you're just 2 for 1 yourself. You don't get rid of the ordinary mortal. You still keep your ordinary model that's in play.
Yeah.
You just it sort of plays out like a it's like a tower. It's like a super tower.
Yeah, okay.
but it's costing you a card.
I
from your
always
hand.
thought you had to sacrifice
It's
it,
more
which
like
is
a
why I never
mix. Think of
played
it more like a mix.
Yeah, that's okay. I didn't even understand what the card did, which is why I literally never. I just never going to play that. I'm never going to want a 3-for-1 myself.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. So it's So if you have them and you can meet the threshold requirements, which is it's only one.
You don't have to do the threshold. You're not playing it. The threshold requirement is 1 Earth.
Yeah, so 1. Yeah, so you need to play enough Earth where you can play it, but again, generally that's not going to be a problem unless you're me.
Yeah, it's probably going to be off villages most of the time, or it's off families.
Yeah.
Yep.
It could sort of be okay potentially in a 4-element deck if you generally will have the Earth threshold as well. Can see it being.
Yep.
Yeah, like you said, it's just a bad game
it.
is obviously that bottom 25% probably just falls under everything's awkward. It doesn't work. It's a dead card.
Well, yeah, it's a bad game is you either don't draw the ordinary mortal or you don't draw a Sirs when you draw this, right? You get your Night Sirs.
And then by the time you do, you could have just cast them without the card anyway. If that makes sense. Like, you got up to 7.
I mean, it potentially lets you play 2 in the same turn as well, right? For some very incredible power plays, right? Like maybe you play a 6-drop Knight or gold card off of this, and then with your other 4 or 5 mana, you play a different one. And then you're probably not losing the game from there. Because all the gold cards, all the unique, even fake unique gold cards are all very powerful.
Yeah.
But, and, potentially getting one down on turn 2, that's pretty good. You can run a game with a turn 2 Lancelot, let me tell you.
Yeah, it does require you, obviously, basically drawing both in the first... with only the it's possible if you have enough.
Yeah,
definitely feels like you got to have quite a lot of.
It's not consistent, but it's very powerful.
Yeah. So is it? I mean, it feels. What is it called again? Knighthood. I mean, it feels definitely like it's top 25% in a deck where you're ever actually going to play it. It's going to do its thing. And the bottom 25% is it's not going to do its thing, basically, right? And then the middle is just the middle. But I feel like the downside, it's basically 0. Does nothing, right?
Yes. Yeah, its bad game is a 0.
And then its good game is going to be potentially pretty high. I mean, you're still 2-for-1ing yourself, which isn't great.
But it can potentially just win games.
Yeah.
It's hard to rate this one, to be honest. Because it's not something you ever really want to put in your deck unless you drafted a very specific deck. And it's really good in that deck. But it's also not even consistent in that deck that it's really good in.
Yeah.
It's really hard to rate.
There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen here. I mean, you also, in the circumstance where you're saying in the first couple of turns you're going to draw both these cards and do the thing, you also need the threshold, right? Which... Obviously, if you're playing Earth and one other element, you probably do, but probably if you're playing all of these Knights or Sirs and whatever, you probably want to be able to cast them if you don't draw the Knighthood, which means you're going to have a bunch of different... there's no guarantees you're having... It isn't just the fact you need the Knighthood and the Sir or whatever, you also need the Earth threshold, right? Which isn't a total given that you would have it.
No.
Now... Ideally, you would, obviously, but it's not 100% guaranteed.
So obviously, the ideal way to play this is turn 3, you play Earth Family and this. Yeah. You could potentially play the Earth Family on turn 2 if you wanted to curve out, but if you wanted to be as safe as possible, where you can guarantee this, that's just you jam it down, right? Or it's also replace Earth Family with any village, right? And then all of a sudden, it's a turn 2 play off of your turn 1 curve, which is super powerful. But it also doesn't have to be super early game, right? Because it's also just, if you only have 1 Earth threshold, it turns any of your ordinaries into fixing for 4 elements. So that's also pretty strong. And potentially game saving if you were threshold screwed. So it's
obviously in that top 5% or whatever it is. It's 20 out of 10. But
I don't even think it is a top 5% of times, right? Because I think it's more times than that, because you're only ever going to put it in a deck. You can probably do it like consistently. I mean, consistently in like maybe you have 5 knights or 5 things that you can put in and play with it. A few villages, a bunch of families. All of a sudden, anytime you draw it, it's probably gonna do its thing.
Probably, but it's a super awkward, clunky deck when you don't draw it as well. Potentially. I'm
not saying this card is consistent, player.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying when it does its thing, it's very good. And you're only going to put it in a deck when it's going to do its thing, like, a reasonable amount of the times.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking in that game where you're describing that you get to jam down some, crazy good Sir on turn 2 or whatever. That's not 25%. That's hot. But what is 25% exactly? Clearly, you're gonna play it and it's gonna do its thing, but it's probably not that level of crazy. Like, not 20 out of 10.
Yeah.
Is it 10 out of 10? The 25%? I feel like it. You think it is, or?
Maybe. I'm not sure.
I mean,
to
be clear as well, we're talking
early. You're probably winning, right? Is the thing like you basically? It's one of those cards where it's like, if you do it, you win the game. If you do it early enough, you just win the game. So
the way that we were rating the cards as well,
that,
just to be clear as well, because you're talking about in this specific deck, and so
that's something like you're never going to play outside of this specific deck.
Right. So, and the way that we're rating these cards in these margins is, and we might have to just lay this out and think about this a bit, because what we originally said is we're talking about through the lens that it's first pack, first pick, and it's it's these good, bad, average.
Yeah, then it's zeros across the board.
Is through the lens of the potential, if that makes sense. So now,
so this card is also so undraftable for every deck that if you ever draft a deck that you need it, you're going to get it as long as it was open, effectively.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you're probably going to get it really late. So it's not like you're even giving up a pick for it. You just have to realize early enough that you're like, oh, I could potentially, you open a Sir in your first pack and you're like, you see this, any pick past like 9th pick, you're like, oh, I'll just take it just in case, sort of thing. If you were going to get first pick, first pack, otherwise you're probably going to get it so late that it's still playable. But I think under
there's nothing else
established, it's just zeros across the board.
There's nothing else. There's no other card that we can even sort of compare the prospect to or the concept to, right? So,
I mean, it's basically just a rock is going to end up in more decks than this, and that's a 000.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Fair enough. So, and
with
that's
the
how we're
caveat
rating them.
with the caveat that this will just be an absolutely game-winning card if in the right deck.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just going to be,
but it shouldn't be in your deck if you're not that deck.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you said, that deck is also likely to not be consistent as a deck generally, right? Which is not a great place to be in.
Your mana base is probably going to be rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, potentially your mana base isn't that rough, right? Because this card gets better the more families you have, and your mana base also gets better the more families you have.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I don't know. When it's good, but it's not good in general.
Pigs of the Sounder, is it just the same as the Knockers?
Exactly the same as the Blue Cap Knockers.
I don't think this Death Right can matter with the Grand Old Boar, but it's so no matter it's impossible to force it because very rare there's even a Grand Old Boar in the draft that exists anyway.
Exactly. But I don't think as the burrowing doesn't add or reduce the point on the Blue Cap Knockers, I think it's exactly the same for the Piggy.
Sure. Stone Rain. It's an interesting one, this one. At
first, I really like this card. And I still do like it. I'm still always happy to have it in my deck. Pretty good. When it's good, it can absolutely blow out games. But it's not an easy card to Like, it warps the game, basically. You can't, if it's in your deck, you can't really just keep jamming out sites. And as we were saying earlier, like, if you have the 7-drop giant in your deck, you do just want to keep playing sites, but you're potentially...
Yeah, you're not playing these
it's in a very awkward spot. But
you're not going to play these in the same
powerful
deck, generally, right?
I mean, you probably are. If you draft both of them, you are probably going to play both of them, maybe. But you're just going to have to...
Well, the Stone Rain might not... The thing is, with the Stone Rain in particular, it's a way better card if you don't play air or fire, or you don't have any other ways to do any damage to them when they're on death's door.
Sure.
Which,
I mean,
by that I basically mean if you're playing Earth and Water, and you do end up playing Earth and Water sometimes. That's a thing. And it's way better then. It's still pretty...
I mean, it's always 1 damage to everything on a site, right? So it's always good at killing things on death's door. And it's, you can still do potentially good things with it when you have no sites in hand. A lot of the time, you only need 1 site in hand for it to do enough to be pretty decent. But yeah, when it gets good, like really good, is when you have like 2 sites and you can potentially kill like 3 or 4 units. Like, you can sort of like funnel a game in such a way that you just blow them out completely.
I mean, if you only play... Well, let's imagine... It isn't even that hard to imagine, to be honest. Let's imagine a deck where you don't need more than everything your deck costs 4 or less mana. It's not that much of a...
Yeah, and that's obviously the dream, right? Is where
and then you're naturally going to just play to 4 sites, and then you're naturally going to... Everything's naturally constrained, because it can't not be, because you've only played 4 sites.
Yep.
Right? So everything... If they want to attack you, wherever they do it, they're going to be within 2 steps away of you, right? If you only play 4 sites. So...
And likely in a deck, if you only have, if you're only ever going to 4 sites, it's still pretty easy to just move once and then target anything on their side as well.
Yeah. I mean, I generally, like I said, I think the only time I'm really not playing this card if I end up drafting it is just because I'm, also playing air or fire, and there's just a bunch of other, there's some other spells like magic missiles or whatever, right, instead that you're playing.
I think you're probably moving away from this card because it's not very good in 4 elements.
No.
It's got double threshold, and it's got the other restriction of you don't particularly want to play all your sites out of your hand. Whereas,
yeah. I mean, I was not always playing 4 elements. I was playing before. I have played the card before. I quite rate it. I'm just saying... Okay.
I think it's quite good, but
let me. I'll reframe it. I probably didn't make... I don't know what I meant to be saying was, generally this card will always be in my deck, and the only exception to that is if you just have a bunch of other cards that are able to solve the problem that this solves, and there's only so many slots you want to take up to that type of stuff, generally, right? It depends what other else you've drafted, but I'm probably always playing this over well, if ignoring the 4 elements and the fact that the thresholds may be a bit of an issue, and with 4 elements in particular, you want to be playing your sites, not holding them. That's a big thing, because you get
that's the line I was going down.
But that aside, in any normal deck, it's generally always making the cart. Generally, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think even in a deck where you have a bunch of other options that do similar things, I think because this is so good at killing people on death's door, it's going to be a very rare situation that it's not going to end up in your deck, even if you do have a bunch of magic missiles, all those sort of things, right? I think this is better than Arc Lightning.
I think so,
and they do
I think
thing, right?
That would be contended, but I think probably it's gonna depend on the deck. But I think if it was probably, I don't know, Arc Lightning does kill a brown bears. If you can cast the Arc Lightning on curve. Thing is, with Zone Rain, it's answering different problems to some degree to what Arc Lightning is as well. Like this, for example, kills foxes. This kills... this is pretty effectively, right? Like, you don't need any sites in hand, you kill a fox. It also can kill multiple stuff on the same site as well, which Arc Lightning doesn't. Yeah,
that's why I value it over.
It also can pretty easily, not that much of a... It's not that awkward to kill those, the Tooth Fairies and the other ones. The pixies.
Sugar plum.
Yeah, like they can be a pretty problematic. And this, you basically just draw a sight. Do you know what I mean? Like you just tap, draw a sight. You have 2 sights in hand. You play it, you kill them, and then next turn, like it doesn't disrupt you.
I'm really looking at the things that are literally on the screen right now. Right, all the knights. It just kills them.
Yeah,
like you just basically have to draw one, tap, draw one sight, kill. Pretty good.
And I think generally I would rate it either maybe a little bit better or around the ballpark of Arc Lightning. I think generally, I think it's bad. I think it's pretty. In some decks where you can end up easily with, you just get in that mode where, right, I've got the mana, 4, 5, whatever it is, right, and then at that point every turn you just tap draw, tap draw, tap draw, tap draw, like.
Yep.
Especially in a weird draft where maybe you ended up with like 4 leprechauns or something on top of it, right? Like all of a sudden, the prospect that this can do like 4, 5, 6, 7 damage or whatever to everything, it's like it's really, really good.
Yeah. This card's definitely going to have like a higher upside, than Arc Lightning ones. It's also the fact that it's in Earth and they don't have much ways of doing like just straight up damage to things is like also probably pushes that up a little, where Arc Lightning has to compete with missiles and things like that as well.
Yeah, so yeah, this is absolutely a premium card, I believe, if you're playing Earth Water.
Yeah, it's basically the only card that would be better in this sort of like similar vein would be Snowball, right?
Yeah, and that's
and that is better than Stone Rain. Like
it is, but it's also Stone Rain you can draft, and the Snowball is way harder to pick up because people pick that in the first couple picks.
Yep, absolutely.
So, right, I think. So let's have a look. So with Arc Lightning, we landed on 667. Is this just something like?
Maybe it's 578, 579. Is it 579? 578 is probably better. Because its bad game probably is worse than an Arc Lightning, right?
I think so. Well, you'll end up in games where basically they're just wailing down on you with the brown bears or whatever, and you just lose.
And
And if you had an Arc Lightning, you wouldn't have just lost.
You just have to jam in another unit and then like Stone Rain as well. So it's like awkward, and you have to 2-for-1 yourself potentially. But it's good game. Well, I mean, maybe the good games are even higher than 8 because like. You will get games that you just straight up win because you 2-for-1 them or 3-for-1 them. You potentially funneled the whole board, like the whole game, to the middle of the board, and then you just absolutely blow them out. But that's probably not the 5% game.
Changes in the Lance tokens, going back to a big conversation in the last episode about if it results in more stagnant play with people not attacking.
Yep.
Then there's more likely to end up with multiple units in specific places, basically specific sites.
Yep. It's also probably worth.
This is going to be one of the controversial things. People do not rate this card generally, by the way.
Oh, really?
It's considered really bad. So
the last one's Wyvern, right?
Last one. Your namesake. This is the only card so far that I would be confident to say is better than Brown Bears. I think it's better than Brown Bears.
Yeah, it is. It's just brown bears on steroids. They fly now. This card is so. This is like one of those. It wins most games that you jam it down. It's so hard to kill because you can't opt to like try and 2-for-1 yourself with like jamming a minion into it and then burning it out. It's so hard to kill in AAAL. And Airborne is like. It's so easy to get your attacks in as well.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of stuff with Airborne in AL, and most of the stuff that does have Airborne is really small.
And then when you start considering cards like Jewel and Joust and stuff, like if you have Joust with this card,
maybe there's some uniques or something. Is there something? Is this the biggest Airborne minion in the set?
I think there's. Is there other 5-power ones? I'm not sure.
There's a Wild Hunt.
Yeah, I think that's the guy I was thinking about. Yeah,
that's also 5-powered.
Yep.
And that, basically that's got triple. Like I think Wyvern is better than that because this has triple. Like it's way easier to with a double Earth at 6 mana, you're pretty much guaranteed to cast it on curve. But this you're not.
Yeah. The upside of like if your opponent doesn't have spirits or fairies and you do, the Wild Hunt's probably more of a game winner than a Wyvern. But
I would draw. Well, if they were both in the first pack, I'd take the Wyvern probably most of the time.
So would I, because you'd prefer to be in a pack like the element. You know, it opens up more elements, right? Because you're not immediately going triple air threshold, so you're potentially leaving your 3 and your 4 element decks more open. It's also the same element as a brown bears, but you just want to be taking. So it's also a beast, so it's like incredible with pond. Like, I would probably, without looking at the other exceptionals, say this is the best exception. It's definitely the best Earth.
Well, it's also
like
with
that.
Earth with the Leprechaun, right? Which he works like the synergy is not that obvious, but the fact that you now are going to more likely to ramp to 6 mana faster if you have a Leprechaun is a big deal as well. Because this is obviously, if you can go to 6 mana in 6 turns to play this, it's obviously better than if you play it in 8 or 9 turns. Obviously,
Absolutely.
But you don't want to have to the fact that it's just, and again repeated this concept multiple times, but you know, typically if you end up with a Wyvern, you're going to end up with at least one brown bears, probably more, and probably a brown bears has hit the table before the Wyvern does, and whatever card they had that could have killed the Wyvern, they probably used it to kill the brown bears as well. I think is quite a lot of. I mean, I'm trying to.
But yeah, so the thing I was saying about with Jewel and Joust is not so much with Jewel, but it's really good with Jewel. But obviously with Joust, it basically makes it unblockable as well. Like, because you can either Joust through something, kill it, and then attack on a diagonal to something where there's, you know, almost anywhere on the board, or you're going to have an attack where you can attack to somewhere and then Joust as well. Is like it's very strong. Like. But yeah, mostly for the jousting through something and then attacking on a diagonal is like where it's really good synergy with Joust.
Right.
Because a lot of the time with Joust, you like use it to kill something, but then you can't attack because if whatever they block with, like the damage is going to add up and actually finish it off. Whereas this, you know, it's so hard to actually find it. You know, you're probably going to have a slot where you can still attack.
And yeah, I mean, going back to the airborne point as well, the other one that there's only one, it's tied to be the biggest airborne, and the other one is elite as well.
Yep.
Right.
Elite and hard to cast.
And if you're comparing this only to other ordinaries or exceptionals, it's just the biggest by miles. Is the next biggest 2-powered?
Yes.
So
I think all the other ones are 1 and 2.
Yeah. It's like. Okay, gonna do it again. Airborne. Is that it? Oh, because I don't have ordinary.
Ordinary, yeah.
1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. Yeah, I mean, this is just, you know, it's basic. Like, to some degree, it's just king of the skies or whatever. Like, it's really problem. Like, it's And the thing with airborne generally is the diagonal matters so much as well.
Yep.
Being able to move on the diagonal.
It's also like a really good blocker the turn you play it.
And they can't easily 2-for-1 themselves to kill it. It requires, like you said before, them to you to consciously choose to block with it in order to. You can just choose to not block, right? If you're on a bunch of life, just don't block, right? Don't let them do it. Take the damage, kill their thing or whatever. Use your magic missiles to kill one of their things, and then attack the other one and kill it, and then probably you just win. Basically, because if they had a spell that could have just removed it, they would have done it, right? And if they needed to do a combination of a minion and a spell, and then you play it safe and board wipe them, you probably just win. I don't know. It's just like is it just something like 9 something 10?
It's definitely 9-9. Is it 10? Is it 9-9-9 or is it 9-9-10? It's probably 9-9-10, right?
I think so. I definitely think that's that 25% where it just wins. It's you know, it's.
I wonder if its average game is also 10, but probably not.
I think on average they can deal with it in a way that is very bad for them. Which does that make it a 10
anyway?
That's
probably fair.
I don't know.
Yeah, like you might be behind and you have to block with it the turn you play it, sort of thing, and then they can 2-for-1 themselves or something like that. Or Yeah.
And that probably is
Yeah,
a 10.
I think that's fair.
It's probably a 9. But, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's incredible. It's
easily
definitely the
the
best
best card. Brown Bears was easily the best card. And then, yeah, I think it's easily the best, whatever, exceptional and ordinary in the game.
Yeah. Without looking at the other elements, but it's definitely the one that jumps out. I mean, maybe there's a gold card that's better, but I don't think so. At exceptional or ordinary.
I think
Probably
the gold ones
not.
are just these knights in exceptional and ordinary.
Yeah. So it's better than all the Lance Knights, and it's better than the Black and the White Knight. So, yeah, that's all of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's better than all of those. It's definitely better than the Giants. Yeah, it feels like it's probably going to be better.
I mean, of all the stuff that we've talked about, this is the one thing where it's just like, I have a high degree of confidence. If this is in the pack, it's the pick. Like, really high.
Yeah,
whereas
it's
Brown
probably
Bears,
going to be...
I know in first pack, first pick, sometimes you're going to end up taking the unique or the...
Yeah, it basically, it's competing with uniques and elite, realistically.
Whereas this is just better than nearly all the unique... Not all, but nearly all the uniques and elites, right? Like, way over half of them. Like, nearly...
Yeah, it's definitely up there. It's in consideration with them anyway. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Like, we'd have to go down a very specific list for it to not be... Like, for to actually pick out ones that are above it, but... Yeah, I think it's definitely the best. It's incredible. Absolute bomb.
Yep. Alrighty. I think we're gonna... I gotta go to bed, so I think we're gonna...
Leave it there?
We're gonna leave it at this. We'll have to cover the rest of them another time. But,
That's a good start.
Yeah, I think we got...
I mean, we got some important discussion out of the way as well, which, probably... The other ones will be a lot quicker because we won't have to spend an hour arguing back and forth.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I think for this one, I think I'm going to put that first hour as its own episode, if we do it. It's weird because there's basically an hour conversation of ranking all the cards that changed as a result of the rule changes to then proceed to only change the rating on one card in an hour. But I think I'll leave it. I think I'll leave that there as is. Like you said, it's not about necessarily the changes in the ratings. It's about the discussion around why there wasn't changes in the ratings. Is what's matters.
That's just as important as changing ratings. I just went through all the exceptionals and ordinaries in AL, and it's definitely the best. The only one that's even close is like Sword and Shield, and that's like I've definitely lost a lot of games from playing that.
Yeah,
because they kill your thing and take it, and then you're like, oh, now I need to try to get it back, and all sorts of shit happens. But
yeah, that's definitely like the floor on that one is pretty bad.
Yeah. It's not a 9.
It's like a -9 or something. 9 for them. Yeah, that's one where the floor is like really low, right? Because it's like literally they just use it to kill you.
Yeah.
And
but man, Fire's going to be a spicy one. Fire is ridiculously good for exceptionals.
Yeah. Like
every card that I was like, oh, maybe it competes with Wyvern is like Fire. I was like, because Fire Breathing, Lava Flow are in the conversations. And then there's like also that I didn't talk about Redcap, Raiders, Shadowstrike, Siege Giant, Warhorse.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Like they're all for almost every Fire card is first pickable.
Yep.
Pukas is the one that isn't.
Yep. Yeah, but exceptionals do pop up quite a bit less than ordinaries. So
yep.
Which matters a lot for which elements are the best. But yeah, obviously exceptionals do pop up though quite a bit. So especially when you're saying basically all the fire ones are like the fact that it's all of them.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. All right. We'll leave it at this. And
I should be around on Saturday as well. So if you have time,
Yeah, all right. Might
want
be
to do
able to
more. But
do a
I'll leave
bit
that up to
more.
you.
Yeah, it's probably better to do it in 2-hour chunks instead of 5-hour chunks.
Yes.
So, alrighty.
All right.
Alright. Yeah. Well, we'll hopefully speak on what's Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Too easy. Have a good sleep.
Yeah. Cheers. Later.
Bye.